All right, good evening. We are getting ready to get started our Personnel Committee meeting this October 7th, starting at 4:35. Mr. Frank Funes is running late, so he is on the way, but we are going to go ahead and get moving forward. Before we do that, do we have a motion from the board to elect somebody to chair this meeting until he gets here?
I will motion that Mr. Bell serve as temporary chairman.
I second that motion. I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Mr. Bell, you are the chair of the Personnel Committee meeting.
Just for a few minutes. I would like to call the Personnel Committee meeting for the Frederick County School Board to order. The date is October the 7th, and the time is 4:37 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have an agenda before us. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda.
I second. The motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I will now pass over to Dr. Hummer and his team.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that. So before we get started, for our listeners at home, we've been dealing with some internet issues today. So if there is some blackouts or some slowness on the internet, please be patient with us as we continue to work through those issues. We're not sure if we are going to experience any during the next hour or two, but just wanted to give you a heads up in case you're watching from home. So with that, we have 4 items on the agenda today. Each of these items are for information only. First is we're going to provide you with a staffing update, as well as our recruitment and retention in regards to how we're recruiting and retaining teachers, retending is not a word, as well as our employee services update. And then we're going to provide you an update with where we are with decor and displays and the employee code of conduct update as well. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Frakely and her team. Thank you.
Mrs. Frakely, please.
Hello, good afternoon. I am going to immediately hand it over to the fabulous HR team, starting with Kristen Campbell.
Good afternoon. So we're going to kick it off with looking at our professional vacancies that we provide each month. So today we're looking at a comparison of vacancies on 10/1 as compared to 10/3/23. So I'll give you a moment to look at that.
Nice.
Okay. And then we can see here the breakdown by content area for our teaching positions. Still at the top is special education, followed by elementary classroom teacher positions.
A quick question for the CTE. Are they specialty positions like electrician, plumbing kind of thing?
Yes, and I'd have to see which positions those are specifically. I'm not sure if we know off the
That's
top
okay.
of our heads, but
I
yeah,
assumed
they're
it's-
posted by a certain area of expertise.
Right. They're the most challenging to find, I understand. Yep. Thank you.
And then we have our support staff vacancies. This looks similar to what it has been over the past couple of months.
Sorry, quick question. For the bus driver, do you think the additional money that we earmarked to the drivers has helped, in your opinion?
Yeah, it does seem as though what we're hearing from Mr. Shepard is that they've been able to staff most of their positions. They're in a much better position of being able to have someone on all the buses and then have some substitutes there to backfill. Still working through coverage issues in terms of when we have staff that are out for other reasons, other besides vacancies, people that need to take time off.
Okay.
Still working through that, but we're in a much better position than we have been. And then this is just our ongoing tally of all of the positions that we've filled for the fiscal year. So that would be from 7/1/24 to 10/1. And it shows our new hires and our transfers.
Before we move too further, go one more back, please. for the bus driver positions and instructional assistant position. At the school I currently work, we have an instructional assistant who is also a bus driver. Have we thought about combining any of the positions to have a more enriching package for that person that may be more full-time? If that's something we can do, I don't know if that works here or not.
We definitely have explored that option.
Okay.
There are some challenges with scheduling, so we haven't moved forward with that. That's something that we can continue to look at. We do have bus drivers helping in the cafeterias and also with custodial responsibilities
Sure.
because there's some more flexibility with the hours there. So we haven't ventured into the instructional assistant bus driver combination quite yet.
Okay, all right, thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry, thanks.
And then we've been keeping this breakdown of our new teachers and their years of experience. So most of those still being at the 0 to 2. Any questions about this section before we move on?
Just one quick question. The 10 with 26 plus years, where are they coming from? I'm curious.
We could look at that for you and bring that back.
So just to make sure I'm clear, that's a new hire teacher with 26 years of teaching experience previously to FCPS.
Right,
Huh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. I should have asked it, but good.
Well, the advantage, let's say if they came from another jurisdiction that pays more, their VRS is still going to be based on their 3 highest years of salary. So if they go to a lower paying job, it doesn't impact their VRS.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah, that is a great point. Yeah. Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, we're going to move on to our recruitment and retention highlight. So Ms. Rinker will come forward for that.
Hello, everyone. Also, just to add on to your question, one of the things that we have discovered is that if there is someone who's been recently retired and they fill a critical needs position, they can receive their full salary as well as their pension. So that also might include some people who have retired and then come out of retirement. But I would need to look at that, and I will. I'll mark that down.
Thank you.
So, as usual, we'll start with some celebrations. We have attended 2 job fairs. One was at Laurel Ridge Community College. The other was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. We are revamping our process to encourage visitation at our tables during recruiting events. So anyone who visits the table, they provide their information and they are registered to win a gift at the end. So we saw it done at another event and it seemed like lots of people were going over there. So we're like, we'll try it. We're changing the gift bags, trying to put some more meaningful items in there. We also just noticed that at the fairs that they're walking around with lots of stuff in their hands. So we thought if we can give them something that says Frederick County and have them put it inside, at least our stuff's on top. So a QR code directly linking to our job portal is on the back of my business card, and my business card is in all of the things that we give away.
Why Scranton?
It was close enough and cheap enough, and there were 242 students that were estimated to be there from the School of Education. So it fit all of the criteria for what we felt, plus Pennsylvania is still a very competitive state, so.
Is that Wilkes-Barre College or King's College?
It was the University of Scranton.
University of Scranton?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know they had one.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We've received an abundance of support from administrators who are willing to support recruiting efforts. We are rebranding our flyers to make sure that we stand out from Frederick County, Maryland and Fairfax County, Virginia, making sure that everything that we're handing out as far as recruiting says Frederick County Public Schools, Virginia. We're in the process of revisiting all of our job descriptions and postings. We're looking at other divisions and seeing which are the most appealing to look at and just kind of playing with our job descriptions to see if people come to our portal, how can we make that the most appealing to them? I have 3 slides this time, guys. So we've met with 8 different recruiting vendors. Since I made this slide, we've met with 3 more. So we're up to 11, just to talk about what options we have for supports for contracted companies. We're creating a side-by-side comparison to compare pricing, pros and cons of each, and the offerings from each group. We are working with VDOEs, Virginia Center Troops to Teachers, to support licensure and recruitment efforts for our former and current military. And this came out from the VDOE, but definitely worth adding that Virginia's teacher vacancy rate dropped from a 3.4% at the start of the school year, a 1.3% improvement from the teacher vacancy rate that was reported in July of 2024.
A question for you. Have you ever thought to work with either the top of Virginia or the Virginia or Winchester's Visitors Center to include information about the area in you have?
Yes, so we are in the process of creating this. It's going to be attached to my business card as well. It's going to be a quick look at sort of like why Frederick County. And we also have, what is the booklet? Help me. From Rick Till? That we're giving out at job fairs. I can show you what it looks like, but there's lots of information. We're bringing those with us. It's sort of like already crafted that has like lots of information
Okay.
about Frederick County.
Wonderful.
So yes, we're in the process of that, but any ideas that you have, please.
Okay. Point of order. I would like to make a motion to turn the meeting back over to our regular chairperson, Frank Funes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yours.
Afternoon, apologize for the delay. Carry on.
Most of the rest of the update from me is coming from discussion that happened at the last meeting. We had talked about pulling out the retirees from the turnover. So this just captures that of all of the people that we turned over in 23-24, that 16.6% of those, if I remember those numbers, that's 50 of the 301. So roughly 17% of those were retirees. These are the years of service from turnover. This is inclusive of all staff, so this is classified and professional staff. So you can see that even though we're hiring a lot of the 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 years, we are still losing a lot of the staff at that time as well. So I'll give you a second to look at those numbers. And then you can see notably 80% of all staff resigning after 20 years. They did indicate retirement as their primary reason for voluntary separation.
The years of service 0 to 1 is most troubling. That's when we should be really,
Well, we do have more data for you specifically to 0 to 1. We broke it out into classified, we broke it out into professional, admin, and then of that 0 to 1, you'll see we broke those reasons out for you to review.
Okay.
Because we agree it is the most concerning,
because, I mean, this is when we want to capture them and get them to stay.
right?
Thank you.
So this is the years of service from turnover classified only. So you can see that of that 100 plus, 71 of those were classified staff in that 0 to 1.
Remind me what classified means, please.
So that's instructional assistants, bus drivers, custodial, nutrition, those are all classified.
Thank you.
And then from that, these are the top reason for leaving from the classified staff, broken out from all of the reasons. And then you'll see on the next slide, we broke out just from that 0 to 1.
For the 9% that are dissatisfied, do we know why they were dissatisfied?
So they have the option to have an exit interview, and they have the option to say why they are dissatisfied. They don't always expand on that. It can be a variety of reasons. Sometimes they'll choose resign that they're dissatisfied because of their salary, even though there is a salary option. Sometimes they choose that. Sometimes they're dissatisfied with their supervisor. Sometimes they're dissatisfied with school culture or climate. It's a variety of reasons.
Okay.
These are the years 0 and 1 only from the classified staff. So anybody that resigned from years 0 and 1, you can see these were the reasons that they indicated.
Oh, the highest is okay.
So by looking at these, salary is still one of the biggest drivers of people leaving, correct?
Yes, so salaries definitely, most specifically for our classified staff. We do have, and I've been working on a comparison for many of our pay tables to compare to not just the surrounding divisions in Virginia, but also just divisions that we're in driving distance of from other states. So continuing to look at that and of course, providing that for you all and Dr. Hummer. This was administrators only. Last month, you guys had asked to see this. So we just pulled out administrators. And just to give you expansion of what an administrator is, that would be principals, assistant principals, anyone that works at central office, anyone who is not assigned to students in the school full-time. Those are considered administrative staff. And these are the top reasons for administrators that they indicated on their voluntary separation form.
So the resigned professional growth, is that because there's a lack of professional growth, or they resigned to move to another location to obtain professional growth, which I guess is probably the same thing?
So essentially, what we find from most people who resign because of professional growth, they're saying they are growing by resigning. They're going somewhere else that will allow them to grow professionally. Although we do find that sometimes that means that their salary is growing. So that's a muddy category at times. But yes, it's typically they're leaving here because they don't feel like they're getting the professional growth that they need or are looking for at the time, or a new opportunity that would give them that.
I see. Okay.
And then this is just the same captured here for professional staff. So this is teachers. This would also include other licensed professionals, school psychologists, others that would be licensed.
You know what that one is?
Again, that 0 to 3 years really standing out as the heaviest chunk.
0 to 5, really.
Yeah. Again, they said these are the top reasons for leaving from teachers and professional staff. This is all of them. And then when we go to the next slide, we'll break out that years 0 to 1 for you.
Not okay.
Last month, you had asked for an update on long-term subs. We currently have 36 subs covering long-term teacher assignments across the division. 27 of those 36 are general education and 9 are special education. Additionally, you had asked for subs that had not taken an assignment since last year or so far this year. So this captures that data of the 431. 69 of those have not taken an assignment since last year, and 177 haven't taken an assignment so far this year. So if you remember, or if you recall from last month, that 431 looks pretty good. And then we do onboard these, so that is a cost to the division. So we're continuing to just keep these numbers to our minds as we're making decisions regarding substitutes.
What is the approximate cost of onboarding one employee? Or does it vary
Well, there's the standard background checks and the expenses that are associated with that, so I can get you that number. But that would be an expense, and then time for labor to actually, the staff time to onboard. Beyond that, I think that's it. We have a general cost of what background checking, the expense to that per individual is, and we'll get you that number.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you. I won't hold you to it exact dollars and cents, but a ballpark would be nice.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, last month you had requested the substitutes by groups. Just to clarify, these numbers are not going to add up to 431 because people can, sub for multiple groups. So these are that collective. Each month, we've been giving you a focus on special education because it is our most crucial need right now. We are currently working to determine interest from our staff on obtaining provisional special education licensure. We are actually looking into two options that would essentially be free for folks to take the foundations, legal and medical aspects of special education course. One avenue that we're looking in, Mrs. McDonald, the Director of Special Instructional Services, has offered to be an adjunct professor and teach the course through here. And if we have enough interest, then we can reimburse the full cost for all of the people that were interested in taking the course. Since we've made this presentation, we've actually discovered another option that we're looking into. Both of those would be free for folks to take the initial course. And if they have a bachelor's degree and take this course, that makes them eligible for a provisional special education licensure. And then they could work with me to path the rest of the licensure should they be interested in continuing that.
Now, for the special education provisional license, does that have the same time frame as the general subject license?
Yes, 3 years.
Is it 3 years?
3 years. They
Yeah.
have 3 years. You can get an extension after 3 years
Yeah.
depending, but yes, it's a 3-year initial provisional, and then they have that 3 years to work on the
Right.
full licensure. Yes, sir. We're also currently working to hire for our specialized programs coordinator to provide support for our level 2 special education staff and students. This has been our most critical need, our hardest to fill position. They are in need of immediate, meaningful support. The coordinator would support 26 different centers, 36 teachers, and approximately 200 students across the division, and those would be our most vulnerable students.
Go into a little more detail about the centers. So like, what does a center
Absolutely.
entail? Thank you.
Yes. So many of our elementary schools, can I grab my notes? Hold on. I had such good intentions of just carrying these with me.
All good.
Okay, so in the elementary level, we have 17 what we would call learning centers. A learning center is there for students who require more than 50% of their day in a specialized setting. So these are students that may have multiple disabilities, they may have intensive medical needs, they may be students with autism, but students that require a large amount of support, much larger than students who would be in the classroom for less than 50% of the day. So in the elementary level, we have 17 of those. We have 5 at the middle school level and 12 at the high school level. So those would all be considered centers that this specialized programs coordinator would be supporting. In addition to that, we have a behavioral support center. Those are typically for students that have more intensive they're in need of more intensive behavioral supports. And we have one of those at the elementary and one at the middle school.
Is this specialized program coordinator a new position?
This is a new position, yes.
Just to clarify as well, it's a new position, but it was reallocated.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. It was
New in
shifted.
terms of job functionality. We're bringing this new service essentially to our kids, but the position was repurposed from another. Yes, ma'am.
So we're not adding an extra person, we're just changing the
Yes.
job responsibilities and title of a current currently,
Of
currently
what
allocated
was-
position.
Correct. It was a current FTE that was reallocated due to the fact that what we were hearing from the teachers that are in these programs, what we're hearing from people that are leaving these programs is that they just need more support. And so due to that feedback, then this was the position that was repurposed from a current FTE.
Thank you.
And so next steps, we're going to continue attending recruiting fairs. We're keeping close data on the return on investment, so how much money we're spending and how much we're getting back from that. We're continuing to have talks of expansion of our Grow Your Own programs. I think we're maybe up to possibly 4 pathways that we're going to be giving folks, so that's super exciting. We're including recruiting information in our HR newsletter that goes to the division. Myself and our HR analyst that works with employee engagement, we are going out, we're meeting with student teachers and their cooperating teachers, getting their feedback, talking to them to make a connection with central office so that they feel more connected to our division. Those have been very great, very satisfying, and we've had great feedback about those. We're continuing to give individualized support from HR as well as instruction for all of our teachers that are currently enrolled in Grow Your Own. We're having one-on-one meetings with community members and staff members to discuss pathways. What are you good at? What do you want to do? How can we get you there? And we're continuing to post our vacancies on multiple platforms. Any questions for me?
Yes, thank you very much for presenting. This is really useful information.
Thank you.
I think I mentioned this once before, way back when we first started, or I first started, but I'm wondering if there's a way for us to differentiate between a special ed teacher, and I understand the issues that could follow it, but what the special ed teachers do is so different than what gen ed teachers do. And I don't know of any other school district that does this, but we could certainly think about pioneering it if it's a possibility. But we have gen ed, and then we have, we have the, what do you call it? The teacher assistants, the 2 classifications. If there could be a 3rd classification for special ed, where their salary, or a subcategory for special ed, where their salary doesn't follow the same steps as does the general ed, but it's a little bit higher, because what they do as a gen ed teacher, I couldn't do what they do. And I'm just thinking that this could be something that we could do to help fill that gap. So I don't know if that's something you have thought about, or
We've had lots of discussions about lots of unique ways. That's definitely something that we've talked about.
is it something that's realistic?
So Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yeah, we
so
go through
what
budget.
it's going to come down to is funding.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to, it does. So we are, as Mrs. Rinker just articulated, very well articulated, is that we are taking a look at all options in regards to how we're filling these positions. And for me, Mr. Bell, it's a 3-tiered process. One, as she's mentioned, is we need to do a better job of structuring these programs and providing the programs and the staff the resources they need to make sure that these programs are consistent across all of our schools. And that is the first thing that we are working on right now, because and we know we have some schools in need, which we're working through. So it's kind of a catch-22 for us right now, because the principals don't want to hear that. They want to hear, what are you doing right now? So we're getting to that point. So that's going to be the first piece of consistency. Number 2 is, as we've created these department leads, we want there to be that level of support in the building to help manage and maintain these supports in the building, so that they have that structure and professional there. So we're going to be providing them with training from central office, but each site will have their own individual to make sure those structures stay consistent. And then 3 is taking a deeper dive in regards to how we're compensating these staff. Because, and when you guys go through the budget cycle, for a majority of you go through this budget cycle for the first time, you will see that I don't like to pit different positions against each other, because all of our positions are important. And all of our positions are needed to make sure that this school division is running smoothly. So we don't want to set ourselves up in a way that we're saying, all right, you're more important than this person, because that's not the case. So we want to take a look at the vacancies that we currently have, which a majority of them are special ed right now, but we also don't want to create a bigger issue if 1 and 2 is what's going to lead us to more of a retention for those programs. So that's why it's kind of a catch-22 right now for us. Is there some room for differentiated pay for these individuals? I think that's one of the things we're currently looking at, and that's something that we can come forward with a recommendation. And the other piece too is our instructional aides, the vacancies aren't as high as our teachers. So that's one of the things that we're looking into as well. I think we have 3 or 4 vacancies, yet we have over 20 teacher position vacancies. So we're doing something right in that regard because these individuals are in the same classroom. So we're trying to find out what those specific issues are so we can work through those. I will tell you, we have an amazing director and assistant director right now that are on the ground with this and putting together some structures and supports to get us to where we need to be with those programs. So if there is a way to do that, we want to do that, but we also just want to avoid the pitting our staff members against each other. So no, it is not out of the question, but it is something that we're currently exploring.
Thank you. To follow up to you, Dr. Hummer, the structure piece, that first goal you were talking about, do you have a time frame in which you anticipate it being accomplished?
Yesterday. This is something that is a priority for us. We've met numerous times. The team is working very hard on this to get this to where it needs to be. And we're working on a bunch of different avenues. We're working with consulting. And we are on the right track. And this is not will this work? It will work. We just have to get to that point. So I want this in place yesterday, and the team understands that, and we are working through that. So it's getting there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rinker. We'll now invite Ms. Tashika Edwards-Johnson up to discuss employee services.
Good afternoon, everyone. A couple of things in employee services. In 2024, 2025, our FCPS benefit open enrollment season happened. That season closed on August 30th. Those are employees, that allows our employees who want to elect into our plan options, our medical, dental, vision, and health savings account plan options, or newly enroll in it, change it, make differences, whatever they need to do. Their new benefit cards were sent out as of before the October 1st, because everything is effective as of October 1st. So we're advising all of our great people in our future HR newsletter to make sure that they've looked in their snail mail for their benefit cards, or if they are great at electronic things, that they have logged on to their benefit plan options websites to download the digital cards or look at their benefit plan options and make sure that everything is where they wanted it to be, so that we and our team can make sure that they have all of the benefits that they elected to have as of October 1st. FCPS Valley Health Family Care Center open house happened. That's a tagline in itself. On September 10th, so our FCPS employees, the HR department, and Valley Health, along with some of our leadership, came out to our open house. This allowed everyone to be able to take an opportunity to view the great, beautiful place that we've established for Valley Health with FCPS. On the door, as you can see in the picture, it has our logo on there, so everyone that's coming up to the door for Valley Health will be able to see that it's FCPS Family Care Center itself. It is a newly renovated place that allows everybody to also see pictures of our school environments on there and when they go into the facility. And during that particular day, it allowed everyone to be able to take the opportunity to meet with the providers, as well as register or schedule themselves for future doctor appointments if they wanted to do so. Valley Health, a partnership that we have with them, we've done, the transportation team members have gone through their physical health certifications and continue to go through that as their annual certifications come about. We've also partnered with them for Dow J. House Center. Again, sorry, tongue-tied today. For our CNA and pharmacy tech programs. This allows our students to be able to go to Valley Health and have their student drug testing so that they can go through their clinicals through that particular program. So that's a great feature. And in our most current focus on FCPS newsletter, we announced that we are doing student sports physicals with Valley Health for our high school students. So on October the 19th, at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Valley Health Center. People can self-register online up until October the 15th, so please go look at that newsletter that was sent out to all of the FCPS community folks, and self-register on there for their high school student to have that free physical itself. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for people to be able to do that. So that's it for that page.
I have a question for
Yes.
you. The pharmacy tech program at Dal J. Howard. I know last year they worked with a local pharmacy in Stevens City, which is now no longer a pharmacy. And I'm wondering if there were any students that were in that program this year and had to be moved.
I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
we were actually just
That's
there
a good
today,
question,
and
yeah.
and they do have students there. We can get with you which pharmacy they currently work with. We have a teacher in
It
the
was
program.
Lance's, I think, is
Yeah,
where they
Lance's
worked.
was the pharmacy in Stevens City, and they recently closed their pharmacy operation. But I want to say that today when we went, Walgreens was on the side of the wall.
Yes,
So
yes.
I don't quote me. We'll find out the definite answer, but it said it on the wall, so I'm going to go with that.
But yes, the program is still up and running, going very well, and we can find out exactly which pharmacy. More than happy to do that.
Thank you.
Great. And I just wanted to bring to the attention of all the folks that we are also looking into new benefit services, and we've partnered with Anthem for Move to Medicare. This allows a free service to the employees and the employees' family members who are getting ready to become the age-worthy 65 or older towards Medicare services, right? People have the complexities of going onto the Medicare website, and sometimes it's not as great or as confusing when they're reaching out to Medicare directly. And Anthem, our medical health provider, has offered that free service to help people walk through what that process looks like for them. So this is a great feature that we're offering to all of our employees. And additionally, on top of that, Child Care Aware of Virginia is a service offered to our FCPS community, employees, families, and friends. They offer free resource and act as a referral agency to help families understand their child care options to find suitable providers based on their specific needs. So a person can call in or go to their website and look to see if there's a licensed child care center next to their zip code area, and help simplify that process for finding somebody to help them with that. And so that's available to everyone in the FCPS community. Those are all of my things for today.
What age group does that cover totally?
It covers all of the age groups from at least for the elementary school year, and then anyone that might need a special needs care. So when you're thinking about it from that pre-K age to at least the 6th grade area, if they need aftercare after school, and then daycare programs for the pre-K age. And then if you're needing special needs care as well, they do have specific child care services for those particular individuals as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just because we're still talking about benefits, I'd like to let everybody know that you'll be receiving, for those at home, you'll be receiving hopefully via text and email, benefits and incentive survey to help us build the budget. Get a good pulse feedback on where our staff stands in terms of their priorities so that we can move that forward to you all. So in partnership with our friends in finance, we've put together the survey. It looks similar to what went out last year. I realize that you all didn't have the benefit of that. We'll bring the results from last year's survey. We've tweaked it per some really good feedback, and we're launching that tonight. I want to say around 6:30. That'll close out in a week. 1 week from today, and then we'll be able to digest, analyze, and get that feedback formatted for you all for the board retreat in October, later this month. So just an FYI that that's coming. All right. So my esteemed colleague, Ms. Jordan, and I are going to tackle this one. We owed you an update in terms of where we are with decor and displays in the employee code of conduct. So let me fast forward here. Okay, so our timeline's going to look a little bit different, and I can let Ms. Jordan talk to you about the decor and displays, but wanted to give you guys an update in terms of where we are with soliciting feedback. So we are, I believe, in the final stages of a rough first draft for both documents, and I'll speak to code of conduct. Is that okay? All right. I don't want to smush them together too much, but code of conduct will be going to 3 segmented populations of the workforce. We've got those meetings set up for roughly a couple weeks from now to get that socialized, really hear back from folks so that we can then make any tweaks, as you see here, edit that draft, get it to you all for your feedback, of course, and then move to implement in November and then work to communicate. The difference between the decors and displays, that is a policy. The code of conduct will be a regulation. And so we're going to make sure that we have enough time to socialize feedback and get that to you all with a really informed draft for your feedback. So let me pass this to Caitlin.
And you say the employee code of conduct will go into effect in November? The finished product?
That's the goal, right, to implement, communicate and implement for November.
I see.
Yes.
Can you explain to me what the difference between a regulation and a policy is?
Well, I'm going to pass it to my legal colleague.
That is a great question. I can answer that for you if you like. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Anybody from the audience want to answer? It's fine.
All right. So a policy is what the school board implements. So you all seek information from staff in regards to what you would like to see a policy look like. We also like to vet that through our attorneys to make sure that we are implementing it accordingly. There are policies that are aligned with state code. There are policies that are aligned with regulations that come out from the state, or there's policies that you all would like to see implemented, and you can see many different varieties of that. So that's strictly what a policy is. A regulation is aligned with a policy, and it's how the superintendent implements what that policy is. And as we've talked about with the cell phone, I want to make sure as your superintendent that I implement in the spirit of what you would like to see with your policy. So based on who you might talk to, they'll say, well, you can't change a regulation because it's the superintendent's regulation. I don't necessarily agree with that because that doesn't show collaboration amongst us, but that's essentially what a regulation is. It's how I'm implementing your policy, but I want to make sure that it aligns with what your vision is, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Yes.
Great. So in regards to the classroom decor and flag policy, a rough draft has been created where I'm reaching out to staff, specifically teachers now. My hope is on Thursday we can come together for a virtual meeting for them to review the policy and then to provide feedback. Our goal, where it differs from the employee code of conduct, is since it is a policy, it has to be approved by the board. Our goal is to have it presented to you as new business on the October 22nd meeting. So you will see it then, and it'll be presented for your consideration and for the board to take action if that's the board's desire at that time. But we want to get feedback from our staff to try to work out kinks before it's brought to the board.
And have you chosen any teachers from the social sciences, social studies specifically?
Yeah, so I reached out to a few of our administrators and asked who they thought would be good to look at them. And so I know at the high school level, I have, believe, 2 social studies teachers on that list.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any questions before we recap? Okay, we saw an extensive staffing update from Ms. Campbell, also included in recruitment and retention, and then the employee services update from Ms. Edwards-Johnson. And we just went over the upcoming timeline and what you guys can expect in terms of next steps with code of conduct and decor and flags. Any questions that we can answer for you?
Just to make sure I heard that correctly, both policies will be rolled out to us for review on the October 22nd meeting, or was that just the flag? and
Just
decor?
decor
Or
and
just-
flags.
okay.
We're working through
Got it.
the 3 segmented chunks of feedback meetings. Those will be in person. And then hopefully that will come to you in November for implementation. Sorry.
You all probably covered that, but I missed it, so thank you.
But a copy of the drafts, when they're disseminated to employees, you will also be provided a copy, so you'll see what the employees are saying, and then you'll also be able to see, we will convey to you the feedback that we got from staff on both the policy and the regulation.
Gotcha. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it from us, Dr. Hummer.
All right, Mr. Chair, that's all we have, unless there's any additional questions or information you all would like to hear.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Do I hear
No comments.
any comments? No comments? We are adjourned.
Excuse
to
me,
do
we
it.
have to
Say
take.
We have to, we have to,
Oh,
Or no, whatever you decide.
yeah,
there you go. Do I hear,
all those in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.